cycle, and each week I get a little personal about certain things that are going on in my life or in the media or anything that I want to cover. And this week, if you ask me, relationships should be thought about before you get into them. And when I say think about them, I mean getting to know the person on every single level possible is not easy as it seems, but it takes a lot of time to do. So kind of getting yourself prepared for what it's like to care about someone else. It's a serious transition, especially if you've been single for a certain amount of time. So you find yourself always doing things for yourself and thinking about self first and making sure that everything you have in your life is in order and supporting yourself. But when you're thinking about getting into a relationship, some of those things need to continue, but also you need to open yourself up to thinking about someone else. I don't want to say 100% of the time, but it's kind of like a 75% of the time you think about you, and then 25%. I don't know, it could be me with those numbers off, but for the most part, it's not about you anymore. And you need to ask yourself, are you ready to be in that place? I think being single is a lot of fun. I think it's carefree. I think it's no obligation. Something that should be celebrated in a sense, because you're getting to know you for who you are. You're just constantly learning more things about yourself when it's just you. I think it's a great time to grow. But when you consider adding someone else to that equation, that means adding that person and all the stuff that they got going on into your life. And you have to care about it. You have to want to care about it. So if you're still in a selfish place, I wouldn't really recommend you get into a relationship. I always feel like there's no rush, and I take the most time getting to know people before I actually get into relationships with them. That's what I like to practice. Sometimes it doesn't always work, but for the most part, I think it takes time. And even still, once you get into that relationship, it's still going to take time to get to know that person in and out, because they're constantly going to be changing based on the situations that happen in their life, or little epiphany moments that they come across, or even you may experience some different characteristics about yourself that you didn't know you had until someone else is added to the equation. So just ask yourself, am I ready to be a boyfriend? Am I ready to be a girlfriend? Am I ready to give up, in a sense, I don't know, what it means to be single, what it means to be free? I don't think I think a lot of people put a negative connotation on relationships, and they feel like it's the end of the world, especially marriage, but we're not going to get into that. But if you do want to get into that, I have a millennial fact about millennials generation getting married later on. You can check that out if you would like. But for the most part, relationships are not the end all. I think it's a very psychological thing that happens when people once a title is slapped on. All of a sudden, people feel like things have to change. But if you had a great relationship and a friendship before the relationship started, I don't see where it should be a drastic change. I mean, consideration levels are going to rise. Respect levels are also going to rise. But for the most part, you have to know what you're getting into before you get into it. It's not about you anymore. It's about you growing and that person growing, you guys growing together. I don't think it's one union. I don't think you forget about all your friends and all your family just because you get into a relationship. But what I do think is it's a different focus on the person that you're inviting into your life in that way. And you need to be prepared for that. And I know I'm making it seem like it's marriage, but I think relationships are really important. I don't think it should be something that should just happen. You should just do because everyone is doing it, or your friends are pressuring you because you're the only single one. I don't think you should just hurry up and get into one because everybody else wants you to be in one, or it just sucks to be single and alone, but I'm single and I'm not lonely. What I wanted to really think about is, do I even know how to be a girlfriend anymore? Like, it's kind of a lot, you know. It takes a lot out of you, especially when you have a lot going on. So if you ask me, as far as relationships go, I think it's something that needs to be seriously thought about, and you need to weigh all your options to see if you are prepared to grow with someone while still, growing yourself. So that was Ask Micah. If you have any questions, if you have any comments about that, how do you feel about relationships? How quick do you get into them? How long do you stay in them? Are you in it for the long haul? Or are you just in it for the fun? Or do you just enjoy being single? Let me know.